Hello, everybody. I wanted to pop on here today and talk about something that just became really kind of current and alive for me as I was coaching a new client earlier today. And if you're just popping on, please say hello and introduce yourself. And she's somebody she's been out of the dating world for close to a year. She's kind of like intermittently dipped a toe back in. But her basic belief is that dating is a waste of time because there really aren't enough good men out there, and there definitely isn't the man for her. So that was kind of the state she was in when she first decided to work with me. And in the course of our conversation, she was asking me about why it is that the clients that I work with very quickly have so much transformation in their love lives. And before I go any further, I'm going to answer that. I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Lisa Rose. I'm a love and dating coach. I'm the founder of Deeper Love, Better Sex. And I help successful singles get really good at dating so that your dates lead to love. And as I was reflecting on that question about why things change so quickly, even for women who have really done a good job of convincing themselves that dating is kind of pointless and a waste of time, is that essentially I don't hold that same belief system. I don't believe in a scarcity of good men. I believe in an abundance of good men. And so when somebody works with me, it's like they're kind of coming into my energetic fold where that belief, rather than the belief of scarcity, is more prevalent. And while we definitely do the deeper layers of work that both reveal and then unravel all of the things that she's holding that have been true for her, that then become more and more evidence to reinforce her belief about scarcity of good men. We certainly unpack that. But equally important, I think, is that she steps into kind of a universe, like my universe, where there is actually an abundance of good men. And I know in my own experience, when I've worked with a coach or coaches that lived in a very different reality in an area that I wanted to get better at or get to the next threshold about, that there was definitely something, along with their teaching and their coaching, there was definitely something about just being in the energetic reality that they embody and live in that kind of shuttled my reality closer to that, So there's really three things, if I was to break it down. There's really three things that I would say happen pretty much with every client that I work with that then reinforces and has them live in the truth of there's plenty of good men. And remember, it really only takes one. It doesn't matter if there's 100,000 or just two. You only need one. You need the one that's right for you. If you're popping on, please say hello in the comments so I know that you're here. So there's three things. The first one is to clear out the past that is like these cobwebs around your heart that really act as barriers and barricades to anybody new coming in, and even to energetically being open to somebody new coming in. If you've had a really bad breakup, if you've had a series of interactions with men where they let you down or they disappointed you or some event happened and you created a story that has led you to protect your heart, no man in the world is going to be perfect enough to be your knight in shining armor to kind of knock those fortresses down. That's your job. Please say hello if you're here. I can't see who's here. That's your job to do that. And when you do that, you will notice that all of a sudden there's so much more space and so much more room in your heart, and you naturally become more magnetic to attracting love because there's room in your heart for love to exist. Love is a powerful force, but it can't get in through those barricades. And honestly, if you're a woman, men don't want to have to work that hard to knock down your fortresses. They want to feel like there's space and room and invitation in there for him to get in. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to change your beliefs about scarcity and to really start embodying and living in a knowing that there is enough to go around and that scarcity of something that you desire doesn't really exist. So if you're not living in that reality yet, here's my recommendation. Where are areas in your life that you can really connect to a feeling of abundance? Like for me, if there's something that I'm reaching for that I'm not yet quite experiencing, and I want to feel more a feel of abundance for that thing, I will reference the places in my life that are easy to grab hold of where I do feel abundant. Like for me, there's two kind of go-tos. So today I went to the farmer's market. I bought all these beautiful, gorgeous vegetables. I have a love affair with vegetables. And right now my fridge is just stock full of broccoli and kale and mushrooms. And that leaves me feeling really abundant when I feel into that. Like there's more than enough in that fridge, and that feels really good. And then the other one for me that's easy to reach for is I love my clothes. I've got lots of shoes. I really enjoy the clothes that I have. I pretty much don't put anything in my closet unless I'm really excited about it. So there's also a feeling of abundance and having, plenty. Some would say more than enough. So when I'm feeling into that place of abundance, I'm living in a state of abundance. And that's actually a really good segue, even though it's not related to abundance of men. Just by feeling that sense of abundance, you're actually vibrating there and you're going to be attracting that. And it's also going to take your mind off of the scarcity of what you don't have. So number one, just to recap, is clear out your cobwebs from the past. Number two, make sure that your mindset is a match for believing in abundance. And then the third one is get really good at dating. And the first two steps are a big part of that. But it's also sometimes like more subtle things that you may or may not even be aware of what you're doing, and how you show up and where your energy is and where your focus of attention is and how present you are and how confident you feel. Sometimes there are just these little tweaks when I'm making suggestions with the client about some of the little things she can do that I found when I started doing. Men responded to me much more favorably. They were much more interested in knowing more. Hey, if you're just popping on, I'd love to know who's here. So that's really what it takes to shift out of a mindset of scarcity and start believing in an abundance of good men, so that you start living in a reality that reinforces that belief. So if you are having trouble making that switch, I would be happy to have a conversation with you, because I'm just really noticing that it's sort of striking to me that even clients who come in pretty hunkered down in these notions about what isn't possible for them, I'm kind of like holding a reality that is the antithesis of that, where absolutely what they want is not only possible, but very likely for them. So we can have a conversation. I am happy to hop on the phone with you for 20 or 30 minutes. And really what happens in that call is we're going to laser in on where your blocks are. Because some of them you might know, and some of them might be a surprise to you. And there's something about really getting the clarity about what is blocking you from attracting the love and the kind of man that you desire. I'm going to kind of get more awareness about that, and then I'm going to give you some really tangible steps that are going to start to move you out of those blocks, so you leave the realm of impossibility and what's not available for you, and you start to step in it feeling very natural for it to be possible and likely and available for you. So reach out to me if you'd like to have that conversation. I'm not big on selling. It's going to be really clear whether it's a fit for us to work together or not. And rather than stay in a place where you're kind of believing a story about what you can't have, wouldn't it feel better to actually have what you want to have? All right, you guys, so if you are listening to the replay, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to leave in the comments your name and where you are listening from, and on a 1 to 10 scale, if 10 is you live in a universe of abundance of men, abundance of good men, put a 10 in. And if you live more on the lower end of the scale, actually, let's do that right now if you're listening in. Are you more, I can't see who's here today. But yeah, play along with me. I would say that I pretty much hang out in around an 8 to 10, probably more in the 9-ish. I have my moments of being 6 or 7, but they don't last that long. And right now, my life is reflective of those beliefs. So I'd like to hear from you, and I look forward to getting you into a more abundant world. Bye.